Hi everyone, it's Tamari the Astro Fashionista. Welcome to my channel. I'm always bringing you the latest astrology, fashion, beauty, interior design videos, mainly astrological forecasts. And today we are going to talk about March 2019, which is really exciting. So we have a big month coming up, you guys. There's lots of activities, and make sure that you watch the video not only for your sun sign, your zodiac sign, but also your rising sign and your moon sign. I actually find that the rising signs might be a little more accurate because it's closer to what might be actually in your birth chart or natal chart. So without further ado, let's start talking about March. Okay, so I'm going to start out by giving the general forecast, what's going on for the entire month, and then I'll get into specifics for each sign. So Friday, March 1st, we had Venus move into Aquarius. And Venus is the sign of love and beauty. It's Taurus's and Libra's ruler. And when it moves into Aquarius, Aquarius is an air sign. It's very eccentric. It's very forward thinking. It doesn't like to play by the rules. That means we're all feeling a little more like feisty and rebellious when it comes to love, beauty, creativity, all of that stuff. So that was Friday. On Tuesday, March 5th, this is a big day, you guys. We have Mercury retrograde. I know everyone cannot stand Mercury retrograde, but it doesn't have to always be a bad thing. So Mercury retrograde is actually when Mercury, the communication planet, which is Gemini and Virgo's ruler, appears to be moving backwards. It's stationary, so it's not moving forward. And that can be a time of confusion. There's problems with travel, electronics, communication. So it's really not advised to sign important contracts. It's not advised to travel if you really have to. It really affects more short distance travel, but all travel can be affected. It's not a great time to like send really important emails. Like if you are going to, which we know life goes on, just make sure you recheck before you press send. And if you're signing any contracts, just make sure really to read the fine print. That same day, we actually have, actually not the same day. And I also forgot to mention that Mercury will be in Pisces still when it's retrograde, and Mercury is actually considered to be both in detriment and fall in Pisces, which means that it's not really that comfortable there. So we got to be extra cautious this go around. The next day, Wednesday, March 6th, we have a new moon in Pisces, and it is Pisces season. So when there's a new moon, there's going to be a new moon in the sign that season it is. So new moon in Pisces is all about new beginnings. It's a great time to start new activities, but keep in mind Mercury is retrograde, so it's not really a great time to like launch a business or start a new relationship. This is more about maybe going back to something that you've already done in the past and redoing that over, or finishing something that you haven't finished. That same day, you guys, this is a huge astrological placement. We have Uranus moving into Taurus, my sign. Uranus is the planet of change, unexpected change, disruption. It likes to shake things up. And Taurus is all about stability and keeping things status quo and being really stable and seeing things through to the end. So when Uranus comes into Taurus, which is considered in fall, it's not really a comfortable energy. The important thing about this is that it's going to last pretty long time, till about 2026. Yes. Okay, so Uranus in Taurus is going to bring lots of change on a global level, not just personally. Globally, we might see changes to the financial system. We have Bitcoin, and we're kind of maybe moving away to a different type of currency. Maybe cash is going to go away. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be a new form of currency that comes in to replace credit. We'll see how this plays out. But currency probably will be definitely affected. Agriculture, the way we harvest food. There could be changes to the way we communicate about things. Big, large issues being brought to the forefront. There could be issues regarding, let's see what else Taurus rules. Just overall stability and security, maybe national security. Pretty much anything that falls under Taurus's domain, and Taurus rules the throat. It's all about money, security. There is a creative aspect to Taurus, so there might be some creative global things that are new that come about. But this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Uranus only moves into a sign every 84 years. So will not be in Taurus again in our lifetime, unless somehow we start living to like 150 or something. And even then it still wouldn't be back in Taurus. But yeah, it's a pretty special thing. It just came out of Aries. So those were Aries issues we're dealing with. Now we're dealing with Taurus issues. If you are a Taurus, this is definitely going to affect you. I'll talk about it in the Taurus horoscope specifically. But yes, it's going to be big changes. And we got a glimpse into what these changes were last year when Uranus moved into Taurus for a brief period before it went retrograde back into Aries. So that was between May and November of 2018. So think about what happened during that time, and we might be revisiting. Last time Uranus in Taurus, I believe there was like the Great Depression. So if you go back in history and Google Uranus and Taurus, you can kind of see what kind of things we might be dealing with again. And the Social Security system was set up during that time. Okay, then we have Wednesday, March 20th, the first day of spring. That means the sun moves into Aries. It's the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, fall equinox in the southern hemisphere if you live below the equator. And this is all about new beginnings, you guys. Spring is always a fresh new time. It's actually International Astrology Day. It's the beginning of a new astrological cycle because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And so in the Western Hemisphere, this is just a new start for the next 12 months as we start a new zodiac cycle. And obviously Mercury is still retrograde during this time, so it's not going to be a up and moving type of start, but it is going to be a fresh new start. We also have a full moon that same day in Libra, and Libra is Aries opposite sign. Every time there's a full moon, it's in the opposite sign of the sign the sun is in. So my advice would just be to be a little more diplomatic around this time, take on Libra traits, because Aries is a very self-focused sign. And then on Tuesday, March 26th, we have Venus entering in Pisces. So it leaves eccentric Aquarius. It enters into romantic and compassionate Pisces, where it's a little more softer. We might feel a little more romantic. We might feel a little more creative and wanting to express ourselves. So it should be a pretty nice time when Venus moves into Pisces. And then Thursday, March 28th, Mercury retrograde ends. So I know that's going to be a really great thing. Everybody's going to be excited about. Obviously, well, not obviously, I don't know if many of you guys know that there is a shadow period before retrograde, Mercury retrograde starts, and after Mercury retrograde ends. So although Mercury will be moving direct, it'll still be moving kind of slow. So just give it about a week or so before you really like make any major moves. But for the most part, we should be safe after the 28th. And then on the last day of March, I believe March 30th, yes, we have Mars entering in Gemini. And Mars in Gemini will bring the focus on communication issues. It'll bring it on maybe media. We might see some more scandals coming out. There's been a lot of tea, you guys, over the past. February was a hot mess. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what type of energy Mars brings to the forefront. Mars is all about action and starting something in aggression. And when you mix it with Gemini, it could mean some sort of like, you know, something's exposed, or there's some sort of verbal arguments or some sort of intense thing that we see maybe on a global scale, but also in your life. So keep watching to see how these astrological transits affect your sign. Okay, this is the Virgo Sun, Moon, and Ascendant or Rising sign March 2019 horoscope. And if you don't know where your Ascendant or Moon sign are, you can go to my website, astrofashionista.com, click your zodiac, and then run your free birth chart or natal chart. Okay, so Virgo, we start the month March 1st with Venus actually moving into Aquarius. And Aquarius rules your 6th house of health, service, everyday, day-to-day work. So Venus moving into that sign is actually really supporting that area for you. And Virgo rules the 6th house, so it's really comfortable when it has planets there. So that can tell me that you might be supported with a new like diet or exercise routine. Maybe there's things are going smoother for you at work, which is really good news since you love work. There might be a chance for you to really help someone out and you feel really fulfilled by that. Overall, that's a pretty good transit for Virgo. And then on Tuesday, March 5th, we have Mercury going retrograde. And Mercury is your ruler. So unfortunately, all retrogrades really affect you in Gemini more than any other sign, which kind of sucks. And I think I forgot to mention that in Gemini's video. But yeah, Gemini, Mercury retrograde can be a little tough for you, as well as Virgo. And it's in your 7th house. And it's joining the sun because the sun is currently in Pisces at the beginning of the month. And so there's an emphasis on like relationship issues. So if you are in a relationship, I would just guard against like saying anything that you can't take back. I wouldn't advise on starting a new relationship or making a new commitment during that time, because anything that started under Mercury retrograde can be have to be redone later. So the start of a new relationship might actually not last once Mercury goes direct. So I would just kind of wait until that period is over if you want to make a commitment to someone. Definitely wouldn't get married or anything like that with this sort of placement. And then on Wednesday, March 6th, we have a new moon in Pisces in that same area. On the flip side, if you are looking for a new partnership or relationship, this is a good time to kind of go to the drawing board and see like what type of partner you want to attract. Make a list, manifest in the days after the new moon, maybe journal about like what you envision this partnership to be. That would be really good use of that energy. That's also a really big day because we have Taurus moving, Uranus actually moving into Taurus, fellow earth sign. And Taurus rules your 9th house of like travel and education. Now this is going to be major for Virgo for the next 6 or 7 years. This is a time where you might get the urge out of nowhere to maybe go back to school. Maybe you are thinking about getting a higher education degree. The 9th house does rule higher education. Maybe you're thinking about moving across the country. Maybe you're thinking about moving to a foreign country because the 9th house really supports foreign country. It rules foreign travel. It could be a situation where you're actually forced to do something like that because something changes in your life and you're forced to maybe move somewhere, or you're forced maybe to go back and get another trade or of some sort. But yeah, there should be some change in some area in your life. Mars is currently in that area, so you might already be thinking about these sorts of things and putting a lot of energy into something regarding travel or education or spirituality. Maybe you're, meditating or something like that, especially with Venus in your 6th. Maybe you're thinking about, how you can better focus and you're looking into some sort of new spiritual system. It could manifest in a lot of different ways. And then on Wednesday, March 20th, we have the first day of spring. The sun moves into Aries, and Aries rules your 8th house. And so the sun's going to move from here to here. And the 8th house is all about debt, other people's money, things being reborn and rebirth, dying and being renewed. The sun in this area of the chart just puts focus and emphasis on large sums of money. It could be that maybe you are thinking more about how to get more money, or you're thinking about how you can form a partnership with someone and maybe make some more money in some way. Maybe, and it's tax season, so we have a lot of money things going on for several signs. So maybe there's something tax related that happens with your money. But overall, there might be some emphasis on that at the end of the month and going into the beginning of next month. And then there's also a full moon in Libra that same day, and Libra rules your 2nd house of finances. So that definitely tells me there's something going on in the financial realm for you. Either some completion, some payout, or maybe you have to pay a large sum of money or something like that. I'd be interested to see what happens at the end of the month. Come and comment and leave it on the video. And then on Tuesday, March 26th, we have Venus entering into Pisces. So it's going to be moving from your 6th house to your 7th. And that again supports partnership. So Mercury is retrograde in that area. And like I said, watch what you're saying. But then Mercury goes direct on March 28th. So 2 days after Venus moves into this area, Mercury goes direct. So it's actually kind of helping the area of partnerships and business partnerships and romantic partnerships. So you're kind of more in the clear after the 28th. And then at the end of the month on March 30th, Mars is going to move into Gemini. So it's going to move from here to your destiny, your higher octave of your every day-to-day work, your life purpose, how you want to be seen in the world. So that's putting emphasis on that area. So maybe it's a scenario where like you're supported during work. Somehow that's helping like your career on a large level, and then you're getting some sort of new money payout, something like that. So yeah, it could just be like your work life, everything kind of working together that obviously affects your finances. So that is your March horoscope. I look forward to seeing you guys all next month in April.